From the studios of Staten Island Community Television, you're watching In the Bleachers, the TV show for the world's most passionate sports fans. Hello and Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Jaime Hixson. And on the phone right now is some really annoying guy who thinks he's the hardest, sexiest man on cable TV when he's really not.
The only reason why you're talking smack is because I am not there. It is Hector Bosa.
I'll talk smack with you when
the
you are here,
why
mister.
I am not there is because I'm starting my New Year's early with a couple of women that are coming to my house today.
There is no one at your house. There is no women. It's just Rosanna taking care of you.
It's going to be a party tonight.
Oh,
Woo!
brother, seriously, get over yourself.
Oh, jealous Jamie.
I ain't jealous of you.
Oh.
Why the hell would I be jealous of somebody who smells like cheap beer?
Let me have my 2 and 3, please. Now let's talk about sports.
Yes,
Did
let's
you
please
hear
do
about
that
the
instead of
first
about
female
you.
GM?
Now, what was that?
The first female GM. There may be a first female GM.
They're desperately, well, not desperately, but there is talk of possibly the first female general manager in the NBA.
Yes, that's who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about that?
There's been talk about it, yeah.
What's her name? Becky Hammond?
Well, Becky Hammond's now an assistant with the Spurs, but wouldn't surprise me if she did get promoted to general manager because she's definitely got the basketball mind and background for the game.
And also, in Russia, they're actually doing intergender matches. It's a $1 million fight.
For MMA,
Between a
for
female
wrestling, or
and
for
a male
boxing?
in MMA.
In MMA. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. It's the first I've heard about that.
Yeah, well, I read about it yesterday. I was reading about it yesterday. They didn't give no names or anything. I saw it on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
They were advertising it.
Right.
That there was a lot of. They was going to Billie Jean King and I forgot the other guy's name now.
Right.
Well, anyway, they had indigenous matches, and I think this is the first female MMA between a male and a male.
Mm-hmm.
They've had arm wrestling female champion versus a regular guy.
Right.
But I think if you match up the two male and female people
Mm-hmm.
with the same set of skills and the same weight, I think the advantage goes to the male unless she's more skillful, unless she gets in there quickly. That's the only way I can see the woman, the female winning.
Have they talked about opponents or participants in a match like this?
And, well, again, I saw it on Twitter. They were just advertising it. But I am saying in the past, where you've had Billie Jean King versus Bobby Riggs.
Yeah.
You've had a female arm wrestler versus a regular guy or somebody that's underweight. There is never an actual real intergender fight or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Where actually there was a tennis match. And I forgot, I think it was Pete Sampras or one of them guys versus one of the sisters.
Right.
And the guy won.
Interesting.
But the girl gave a good round, if I remember correctly. I forgot the name, though. I apologize for that.
It's okay.
But I don't think there's ever been a real intergender match in any type of sport. The last one that I remember was the Asian woman that was trying to become she's a knuckleball pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I know she's still in the league, in the Japanese league.
I think I know who you're talking about. I'm not sure if she's pitching anymore, though. She could be. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So what else do you have on your mind?
Yeah, another thing is, how do you think the NFL is holding up now? Is everything going good the way it's supposed to be?
It's holding up fine. I mean, they're going to end the regular season on Sunday. The playoffs begin the weekend after. None of those games are going to involve the Giants and Jets because they're both dreadful. The Giants more so than the Jets. But overall, the league is doing well. There's been some talk about whether the NFL is still the bigger sport or the more popular sport in the country and not the NBA. But overall, the league is doing fine. So far, it seems to be clear of any kind of controversy.
Well, is football America's pastime now? Because baseball doesn't seem to generate as much as before.
That's because baseball is still being followed by a more old generation, whereas football has been a lot more followed by younger crowds.
And also, you don't have to change you don't really have to change much of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a fast-paced hitting type of game.
Yep,
Just
which
like
translates
hockey.
well into television.
Right. It's good for TV. It's not long. Baseball is very too long, and even they've tried to shorten it. Baseball, there's no way of shortening it.
See, real baseball fans never care about how long a game lasts. They just want to see the game played as it's going on. Even if you try to shorten it, there's still going to be factors that are going to make the game long anyway, like the use of instant replay and pitching changes and batters stepping out of the batter's box to adjust their equipment, or pitchers stepping off the mound, or throws to first base in the event of a base runner. There's always something that's going to make baseball long.
They've tried to make it shorter.
They've tried to make it shorter by using a clock. Not sure if it's going to be working very well, but seriously, what more can they do to try and quicken the game?
The batter can't get out of the batter's box as much as before. They have to adjust.
Yeah.
Because there used to be a lot of ball players back in the 80s and 70s that used to step out of the box every time.
Yeah.
Just to adjust their glove. They had their routine.
There was a time when baseball games used to be 2 hours and no more. Once upon a time, the quickest game took 51 minutes. But that was right after the turn of the century.
Yeah.
And the pitchers worked quickly then.
Well, they only know how to throw only so many, fastball, curveball, probably. That's about it.
Yeah. And a slider here and there.
Probably a spitter.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a spitter, But, how do they match up in the football games right now for the playoffs?
Well, we just completed the regular season, and we already know that the Patriots, Steelers, Chiefs, and Jaguars wound up winning their respective divisions. Do you know that the Patriots have won the AFC East every year except 2002 and 2008? That's 15 division titles in 17 years. That is dominance right there. They own the AFC East. More so because the other three teams in the division are just not great.
And why is that?
Well, it's simple because the Patriots have the better coach, they have the better quarterback, they have the better crew of receivers. As long as Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are still on the same sideline, the Patriots will not be beat.
Well, that's the thing, too. Do you think players want to play for them?
Players definitely want to play for the Patriots. I mean, it's an easy way. It's an easy road to get to a championship. I mean, look at what James Harrison did. He got released by the Steelers, and he wound up hooking up with the Patriots for one regular season game.
So you think a free agent would take a pay cut to go to a winning team?
By far. And not only that, but it's not just the Patriots either. It's the Steelers as well. They're another contender. I think I wouldn't overlook Kansas City or Jacksonville since they're the division champions. One team that's definitely going to be really dangerous to look at is Baltimore because they've got a more than capable quarterback, a guy who's won a championship. Their only issue is I'm not really sure who he's going to be able to hand the ball off to try and take some pressure off of him.
Is the Gronk MVP material? Is it his to win?
What's that?
The Gronk.
Oh, you mean Rob Gronkowski? He's definitely MVP material, yeah. I would also throw Drew Brees of the Saints in there. I'd also add a dark horse candidate, Case Keenum from the Rams, who just surprised everybody this year. Maybe even Todd Gurley from the Rams as well. And also one of the guys on the Jaguars defense who would be a really good candidate for MVP this year. But as far as this season in general, the NFL season, at least it's been steering clear of controversy for the last, I'd say, 4 weeks or so. Let's see what happens once the playoffs start in the new year.
Well, do you think the knee on the ground, has it made a difference in society and in football? I know it's made a difference in football, but has it made a difference in society?
Yeah, because it's created a whole lot of talk time, not just for media people, but also people at the water cooler in their offices. It got to the point where even a Pee Wee League team was reprimanded because their players wound up taking a knee as well. But notice this. Not once have we seen college players go down on one knee during the national anthem. And that's probably happened or not happened because they do not want to have to get in trouble with the university or with the NCAA for that matter. And they also know that it would be bad publicity for their school.
And that's a shame too, because the knee, as you know, the knee just means, for the people that really understand what's going on, the knee just means is that there's injustice in the world.
Yeah.
And that's to bring attention to it. It doesn't mean any disrespect to the flag, and people don't get that. And for some strange reason, some people think, such as the president himself, he's thinking that it's disrespectful, and here's a man who's done a lot of things wrong to women, but also he actually tried to get into the NFL himself.
Yeah, he's been wanting to own a team since his Generals days.
Them for not being able to get into the NFL.
It's funny that we talk about this because in Europe, where soccer is really big, the other kind of football, there have been more than one incidence of racist actions by fans towards some of the minority players in the game. And not once has anybody spoken about it over here. It's been talked about a lot over there, but not over here. And not once did they ever have to use politics to try and make a point. They just said that they wanted equal opportunity, and most of all, they want equality in the game and away from the game.
I mean, when when you have country versus country, they fight over that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, the knee, that's what the really knee stands for, and people still don't understand what it is. And right now, it's still talked about. But
Oh, yeah,
not
it's
as
still
much
talked
as
about.
before.
Not with as much uproar as before, but it's still being discussed.
Right. And other NBA, I don't think they're allowed to do it.
The NBA, I know for a fact, has a rule that they must stand for the national anthem at all times. Or they'll race either a fine or maybe even a suspension.
Right. In baseball?
That happened maybe one time. In fact, it did happen one time. There's this backup catcher on the A's who's the son of mixed parents. Ironically enough, he's also a military brat. So you know this has to be a really conflicting situation for him because his dad served in the Marines, yet he wound up going down on one knee because he has been facing racist abuse in his home state of Alabama.
But you see, that's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
You have some of the military people saying that it's great that you're bringing attention to it, and then there are some people, and even some military people saying that it's disrespectful.
Yep.
But remember what it really means, and remember what our military fought for, and that's what is on the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And people still don't realize it. That's like burning a flag. I don't like when the flag's being burned, but is it legal? Yes.
This is true.
It's legal.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like that. But you know.
But it happens, unfortunately.
It happens. It happens. So this year and the year before. This year has been more controversial than anything because of Kaepernick not being able to come back to football
Mm-hmm.
with his lawsuit, and now he's trying to buy the football team too, or trying to get into baseball.
That's exactly right. He is, word has it that him and Stephen Curry want to join P. Diddy in possibly buying the Carolina Panthers.
You know, I can't wait to find out how that lawsuit is about with collusion with Kaepernick to see if it is true or not.
Well, whether the lawsuit even gets into a court of law, we're just going to have to wait and see. But I think he's got a really good case.
And you got Roger Goodell.
And Roger Goodell wound up getting himself a brand new contract to be the commissioner of the league until, I think, 2022.
And Jerry Jones didn't want him, if I remember correctly.
Jerry Jones has done all he can to try and get Goodell booted out of the league.
Now, has he done something properly? Has Goodell done something well, or has he been bad?
You mean aside from this whole national anthem thing, there was the way that he handled the entire concussion situation, which I thought he handled very poorly. There's also the issue of the many players that wound up getting into trouble with the law. He handled that extremely poorly because I don't think that he threw the gauntlet down hard enough on some of the many players that have been out there. But when you consider Ray Rice wound up getting suspended, and he's been gone for good, and you also consider Greg Hardy basically got off with a slap on the wrist, and then there was Ezekiel Elliott who got a 6-game suspension when it should have been more. Goodell has done a very, very poor job running things in the
what,
NFL.
though?
There has
What did
got
they
to be
do?
somebody else that can try and run the ship better than him.
What did Ezekiel Elliott do?
Well, let's see. He abused one of his ex-girlfriends. Then he got into a fight at a bar more than once. But the abuse of his ex, that was what was the last straw for Goodell right there. And that was what perpetuated that 6-game suspension, which he just got done serving.
Well, here's the thing. If he goes to law, in the court of law, and they find him innocent of that, of the abuse, let's say, should the league still suspend him, even though in the court of law he was free of that? He was found innocent.
You mean should they suspend him again?
Should they suspend him?
Because he's
Should
already
they
served a
suspend
6-game
him?
suspension,
In the
though.
court of law, they found him innocent. And then he tried to get back into the league. Should the league suspend him?
Should they suspend him a second time, you mean?
Yeah, if it happens again.
If he gets in trouble again, then he definitely should get a suspension of some kind.
Even though he's found innocent in the court of law.
Even though he was found innocent or guilty, he has to get some kind of discipline. He cannot be just going out there doing whatever he wants. I mean, he knows that he's being watched. Why continue to do this any further?
Because Adriano Chapman, he was found with domestic abuse.
And he wound up getting a
But
1-month
was found-
suspension out of it.
Yeah, but he was found innocent.
And the league still suspended him.
And the league still suspended him. So this is what I'm saying. If you're found innocent, why should you be suspended if you're found innocent?
Because he got himself into that situation in the first place. That's why. Wrong place, wrong time.
And that's what people don't understand. And that's why it's good to talk about it.
Yeah, it is. So what else do you have for us?
WFAN, ESPN, they all talk about this.
Yeah.
And they get into deeper conversation.
Mm-hmm.
More than we do.
Yeah.
But, Gronkowski also, I think he's turning bad. I think for WWE as well, he's turning into a heel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I could see him as a heel.
Yeah. But Kenny Omega called WWE soulless.
He calls it
He
what?
was rejected from WWE.
Kenny Omega
They
got
let him
rejected by WWE?
He was a WWE product many moons ago.
Oh, okay.
But WWE is a machine.
Well, they are a machine when you think about it because they're being run by the McMahon family. And to a lesser extent,
And
Triple H.
They took over the territory.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it was sold to them or however he got all them little territories, which is sad in a way.
Yeah.
Because Florida Championship Wrestling was great, and all them other ones were great too.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Wrestling and Jim Cornette Wrestling Organization.
Yep.
Ron Fuller. I'm hearing his broadcast as well, and he's fantastic.
I see.
Jim Cornette's podcast, Ron Fuller's podcast, they're all fantastic for those people that enjoy wrestling. But most of all, the XFL has had a trademark Vince McMahon put in a trademark for him. So the XFL may be back.
I just don't know about this, man. I mean, after 16, almost 17 years, what's the point? I mean, they're never going to challenge the NFL. No league is ever going to challenge the NFL. What's the point?
The point is the NFL is not doing too well, so he may have a shot at it this time around. And also, it all depends how he plays the game and when he plays the game.
Well, it's not like it's going belly up right now. I mean, the league has still got a fan base. They're still making a ton of money. The ratings aren't all there right now, but they're still pulling in okay ratings. I mean, look at what happened the only time that the XFL was around. The style of play was very poor. The fan support dwindled. The ratings dwindled. And it was basically a mockery of what was going on in the NFL.
But you had a lot of good players from that league come out of there.
There were maybe 2 or 3 really respectable players that came out of the XFL. Everybody else, there was a reason why they didn't make it to the NFL. In fact, the only good guys that came out of XFL were Tommy Maddox and He Hate Me, who had a 5 or 6 year shelf life, which is great for him.
Listen, anytime you can make it to any type of league and you're the last guy, you must have done something right.
Yeah, but the dream is to make it to the NFL, not the Arena League, not Canada. It's the NFL, the National Football League. That is the one place for young football players where they want to go to play the game.
Well, that's the thing. Does a person strive, does a wrestler strive to be in the WWE? Is that the pinnacle of all pinnacles?
Nowadays, yeah. I mean, I'm not really sure what wrestling fan dreams of being in Global Impact Wrestling or the Ring of Honor.
Or New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Or All Japan, for that matter. Or maybe even Mexico.
Yeah, All Japan. I tell you one thing. The people that are making out very well is Cody Reynolds or Rhodes.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes.
He's making very well in the independents. The Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Omega could have signed with the WWE.
Yep.
But didn't, because he figured, again, he would have no control over his character.
Right.
And that's one thing. Once you go to the WWE, there's a certain je ne sais quoi you lose.
Yeah.
You lose that something because they trademark it, they try to fix it like Matt Hardy's Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that wasn't caught by Impact Wrestling. But you've had a lot of controversy this year, whether it's from WWE or wrestling in general.
Yeah.
The XFL, a lot of problems. Baseball did okay.
Baseball did very well for themselves this year. And in our neck of the woods, the Yankees did a lot better than people thought they would. Of course, having Aaron Judge and Gary Sanchez had a lot to do with it. And they had this really good playoff run that no one saw coming, beating the Twins for the wild card, coming from behind to beat the Indians, almost beating the Astros. They could have rested on their laurels, but these are the Yankees that we're talking about. The Yankees never rest on their laurels. All they want to do is try and get better for the following season. And what did they do? They get Giancarlo Stanton. And also, they wind up bringing back CC Sabathia. And think about this. Stanton, Judge, Sanchez, Greg Bird, Didi Gregorius. That's a quintet of batters that not a lot of pitchers are going to want to face in 2018. And also keep in mind, spring training is roughly 7 weeks away. Every baseball fan is going to be licking their chops wanting to see these guys play either on television or at the ballpark this year.
And that's true. Now, do you think they've stopped with the trades?
Knowing the Yankees and the way they operate business, they're going to try and make a deal somewhere. I'm hearing that they still want to do a deal for the pitcher from the Pirates, Garrett Cole. It may take a little bit to try and get him, though.
But they don't really need him.
Not necessarily, but they do need a fifth starter. And after Sabathia and Sonny Gray and Masahiro Tanaka and the kid Luis Severino, they could do themselves well if they got that fifth starter. I mean, there's still Jordan Montgomery to consider, and he pitched reasonably well in his rookie year. But getting a good veteran fifth starter would not hurt them, no.
Yeah, but again, do they really need him?
Do they really need him? No, they don't really need him. Would he help? He would definitely help them.
You know, that's the thing. That is the perfect thing, because you're not, when they got Stanton, they didn't give up that much.
Yeah, all it took was Starlin Castro and a couple of lower-level prospects, and also paying a huge chunk of his salary to do that.
When you play the waiting game, you go and you do very well.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
Do you think that the WWE or Old Japan Pro Wrestling or New Japan Pro Wrestling, who's got the worst schedule?
Who's got the worst, you mean travel schedule?
Wrestling schedule, yeah.
WWE has their guys traveling maybe 300 days out of the entire year just to go from one city, just to try and entertain the people. I mean, they have to be at a city one night and then be at a city the next night in the event that they're doing Raw or SmackDown, or they might be, if, for example, if they're only in one brand and they have to travel from one city 1 week to another city the next week, or maybe even go back to the headquarters in Connecticut. That's a lot of mileage that they have to log.
That's true. I think New Japan Pro Wrestling, they hurt more, and they have to wrestle through a lot of tough injuries, more than WWE.
Yeah.
And I always concur with what Jim Cornette says. They should rotate people. So some people can rest and get new activities in other wrestlers that you're not using very much.
True.
And you get new superstars, and you never know. You may have a diamond in the rough.
Mm-hmm.
So the NXT is doing very well.
Yeah, they've really carved out such a good niche for themselves with the young wrestlers that they have. It's interesting that these guys, who are basically a minor league for WWE, are doing better than the parent club themselves.
As soon as they go to the WWE, they get lost.
Yeah.
And that's so sad. Nakamura, he should, WrestleMania. People want to see Nakamura versus AJ Styles. Why? Because they fought in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they've had great matches. Would love to see that.
I've seen AJ a few times. I didn't really get a chance to see him that much when he was with the old Total Nonstop Action. But from what I've seen him in WWE, this guy's definitely the total package.
He is the face that runs the place, just like I am the face.
You're not the
Staten Island
face.
Cable Access.
No, you
Because
are
I am
not. You are the
Hollywood
heel
face
of Staten Island Cable Access.
TV.
You are a heel.
I am the face.
You are the heel. You are the heel.
my friend.
There is no face here.
Oh, that's right. There is no face there. You're absolutely right.
All right, we're two-thirds of the way into the show. Let's look a little bit further back on what happened over the year 2017. Of course, we had the Patriots winning the Super Bowl. There was also the Astros winning their very first World Series championship. The Warriors
the
won
American League, by the way.
Yep, and now they're the first team in Major League history to win pennants in each league. And now they won their very first World Series championship. Of course, the Warriors won the NBA title, and the Penguins wound up winning the Stanley Cup title. And this past...
Do you see the Astros doing it again?
I would probably see them doing this again because they still have the same batting order as last year, and their pitching staff is basically about the same.
And the Mets.
The poor Mets have just not been able to get that much going. I mean, all they have for their big deal right now is hiring the manager, which is Mickey Callaway, and then signing Anthony Swarzak to be in the bullpen. Other than that, it's basically waiting to see how the starting pitchers are going to do. I even heard that there might be a return of Bartolo Colon to the Mets. And that
I think that would be an attraction.
And if he were to return, he would accept a minor league deal.
If you can still do it and you love the game, why not?
He didn't pitch particularly well with Atlanta last year. Kind of sort of rediscovered himself in Minnesota, but let's face facts. The guy still has it. Somehow, some way, he still has it. And he definitely wants to pitch again.
When he went back to the Mets, when he pitched for the Mets, he did well. As soon as he left, he did poorly.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can make the environment.
Yeah. And there's still the matter of the rest of the pitching staff. How's Matt Harvey going to be after another surgery? How's Noah Syndergaard going to be? How's Steven Matz going to do? Jacob deGrom was basically the anchor of a patchwork staff last year. Could we possibly see Seth Lugo be that fifth starter for them right now? There's a lot of questions for the Mets right now. There's also the matter of who's going to be the
everything's questionable.
Yeah, the other question is who's going to be the first baseman? Hell, who's going to play first, second, short, and third? Right now, it seems like the only guarantee is that Asdrubal Cabrera is going to be back playing either second or maybe even shortstop. Maybe they'll give Dominic Smith a try at first base. Maybe they'll make Ahmed Rosario the everyday shortstop. David Wright says he's ready to go, but we just don't know how he's going to be, especially after the spinal stenosis. There's also the matter of the outfield. I'm hearing that Juan Lagares is on the trading block, so there's a chance that he might be leaving. There's a lot of stuff for the Mets to consider right now.
And it seems it's going to be a grueling year for them.
Yeah. Just way too many question marks for that team.
How's their minor league system?
Minor league system is not as great as it once was. I mean, they do have a couple of diamonds in the rough, but the minor league system overall is not as great as it was, I would say, 2 years ago.
And the Yankees?
The Yankees minor league system is right now one of the top 10 minor league systems in baseball. You consider who's in their system now. Gleyber Torres, Tyler Wade, a pitching prospect, Chance Adams, who could be ready in the next year or two. They have another pitcher, Justice Sheffield. No relation to Gary Sheffield. Justice Sheffield is a southpaw who's got terrific stuff. Miguel Andujar, another infield prospect who played one game with them and just lit up the show this past summer. He might be considered for a spot on the infield. The Yankees have a ton of prospects that they could do anything they want with. They could probably use them in a trade, or maybe they could even use them to plug some holes.
Well, you need, what, a third baseman?
Third base is one issue. Second base is an issue now because Starlin Castro got sent over to the Marlins. So they're going to have to look for a second baseman and a third baseman. Todd Frazier is still an option, but he wants a multi-year contract, and the Yankees only want to give him 1 year. So there's a chance maybe they'll give third base to Andujar or to Gleyber Torres or maybe even Tyler Wade. There's also Ronald Torreyes, who was a really good supporting player for them this past summer. He played over 100 games for them. Maybe they could make him the everyday second baseman. I mean, he's a good contact hitter. He's also very steady defensively, too.
Well, that's the one thing that if you're a weak hitter on a strong hitting team, you'd be able to carry him.
Yeah. They could mask his deficiencies.
Right. Now, you have the NHL and basketball.
Yep.
Any controversy there?
No major controversies in the NHL right now. Pretty soon, they're going to have the Winter Classic at Citi Field. The Rangers are going to be playing Buffalo soon. And that is going to be a huge deal for Ranger fans in this town. As far as the NBA is concerned, the only real controversy right now is the fact that a lot of the players continue to be unhappy with the officiating in the game, and they want to have a talk. The Players Union wants a talk with the Referees Union about the lack of calls or the paltry officiating that has been going on in the game. LeBron James, for one, really moaned and groaned about it when he got fouled twice by Kevin Durant in that Christmas Day game. And anybody who saw that game could see he was hit on the arm twice. And the referee was right on the baseline, seeing the whole thing, and no whistle was blown.
If the game was called the way it was supposed to be, or is supposed to be, you would have nobody on the floor. Because remember, basketball is a non-contact sport. And
Or so it seems.
See arms sticking up, people pulling the jerseys, trying every dirty trick in the book at times.
Yeah.
The referees are not calling the proper fouls. The Kimbe Mutombo and Manute Bol, because they were so tall, they never got the proper call.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are, 2017, and for some strange reason, we still can't get it right.
Nope. And it's not just fouls either. it's the constant getting away with traveling. A lot of superstars travel and no whistles are blown there either.
Traveling, ball going too high, over the shoulder. The little fouls like that, they don't call as much. And especially if you're a great player, such as LeBron James. Some of them players should have fouled out in some games, and they don't because of their names.
Yeah.
And the NBA needs them to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that they don't suspend none of them.
No. And you made the point about how LeBron was intimidating Frank Ntilikina, and Enes Kanter wound up getting up in his face, standing up for the kid, and LeBron basically just shoved him out of the way, and no call was made there.
Exactly. This is what I'm getting at. Michael Jordan.
Oh, he was notorious for getting away with stuff.
He threw a punch. Remember, if you throw a punch in the league, you're supposed to be automatically ejected. You didn't get ejected.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing. When you're a superstar and you're making money for the NBA, they need you on the court. Very rare you will see them get fouled or foul out.
Mm-hmm.
What was the last superstar that you've seen get fouled out?
The last superstar that I saw get fouled out, there was a time about a quarter century ago. This is a regular season game against Utah. Not only did Michael commit a foul, which is an obvious foul, he got teed up twice in the span of 5 seconds and wound up getting thrown out of the game. But that's because the referee saw that he had committed a foul, knew that he committed a foul, and the only reason why Michael blew up was because the referee caught him that time.
And even if it's bluntly right there, they still won't call it.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. So I'd like to be that fly on the wall when they say, oh, this is what the problem is, that you're not calling these fouls.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting away with murder.
Yeah. That's why this meeting with the players and the referees is so critical. They have to sit down one of these days and try and hash this out. And while they're at it, use some video evidence as examples.
Well, they do use the replay,
Yeah.
but that slows up the game.
Yeah. And then again, it brings up the issue that they don't want the referees having to take over the game, so that's why they let a lot of stuff go.
You know, when you're playing in the park, you get slammed, committed fouls. Unless you see blood, no foul.
Mm-hmm.
In those leagues. Because I've been in them and I've seen them. And if there's no blood, there's no foul. I remember one game, a guy put his foot on my chest and climbed on me. And I was standing there waiting for the charge. No charge.
See, that's an obvious foul right there.
But again, these are league referees. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Just like the NBA. Some of them are good, some of them are bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way you're going to make money is if your star players are in the game.
Yeah.
Look what's happening to them. They have to announce a week before, I think, for their star players to be sat down.
Yeah.
Is that one of the rules?
So supposedly that is one of the rules, yes.
Because Craig Popovich sits his stars down if they're in first place.
Mm-hmm.
He lets them rest.
Yeah.
But because the NBA needs them, needs those stars to make him the money, because people pay to see the stars.
Well, the Spurs are an exception, though, because their oldest guys and their oldest stars, though, Ginobili and Tony Parker, they've had a lot of problems with injuries. So naturally, he's going to want to rest these guys for a much more important run that they want to make. And Kawhi Leonard's been in and out of the lineup, too, because he's been hurt.
Right, but the NBA sees money.
Yeah.
They don't see the guy. They see money. The whole world is about money.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like cows.
Yeah.
But all in all, the Knicks are doing good.
Well,
And
they're teeter-tottering around 500 right now. I would like to see what happens the second half of the year, because the second half of the year that's when playoff positioning really gets hot and heavy, and I want to see what they can do against the top half of the conference, because eventually they're going to have to try and prove themselves against the top half of the conference, because right now they've lost twice to the Chicago Bulls, a team that they're 10 times better than, and that's not proving that they deserve to be a playoff team.
just because you lose to the worst team, that doesn't mean that you're a bad team.
Tell you what, the Cavaliers lost to one of the worst teams in the league, and that's the Kings. But the Cavaliers are the cream of the crop in this league. The Knicks, they're still trying to find themselves.
And they still are, for the simple fact that some of those guards that they have, such as Ramon Sessions and Jared Jack, they're one-year guys.
Jared Jack's been getting a lot of time, though. But the
Yeah,
key is going to
but
be
they're
Tim Hardaway
one-year
Jr.
people.
It's critical that he return from his injury. That way he can be at least a resemblance of a second go-to guy for Porzingis.
You hope,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. A lot of the Knicks players, some of them have one-year contracts.
Yeah.
So they're expecting someone, an all-star, to come in there. But the only way you get more stars if you build up your team to the point where, like the Patriots and Pittsburgh, if you build it right, they will come.
Yeah, this is true, but it seems like with this team, they've already had close to 16 and a half years it's been with this team, and quite frankly, let's face facts, don't expect any championships anytime soon. Right now, I just want to see this team build themselves the right way. That way they can be taken seriously.
And they're doing it.
Well,
They're actually doing it the right way. But
right now
Enes
they've just
Kanter-
broken even.
Right. But Enes Kanter is what, 2 years?
Mhm.
1 year in an option.
Yeah.
McDermott is 1 year with an option. Sessions and Jared is 1 year. So you don't have the type of people that you need with 2 or 3 year contracts.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do at the trade deadline, if at all, because they really need a second go-to guy in the worst way. They can't put it all on Porzingis himself, because quite frankly, after him, who is there? I mean, Cantor can only do that in spurts. Hardaway, quite frankly, he's grossly overpaid to try and be that second guy. After that, who else is there? The other guys are just unproven.
It's growing pains.
They've been going through growing pains for 16 years, man.
Yeah, but now they're doing it right. They're finally doing it right. They're building. They never built before.
Oh, they've built before. They've just built it the wrong way.
Exactly. But now they're doing it the right way, don't you think?
Well, for now, it's okay.
It
But again,
seems
let's
they're
see what
going
that
in the
second
right
half
path.
holds for them.
It seems that they're going in the right path.
Well, like I said, let's see what happens in that second half of the year. That first half of the year, all they've done is break even.
And Stan Van Gundy had to. He said that the NBA was trying to rig it for them. No, there was an article that said that the reason why the Knicks had so many home games in the beginning is because they have a lot of March Madness is coming soon, and other things are coming up.
Yeah, if I'm
That
not mistaken,
needed to
I think
take
the
place.
I think either the ACC or the Big Ten tournament is going to be in town in March.
Exactly. And you have other things happening there too. And that's why they did it for scheduling reasons, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
So Stan Van Gundy, what can you say? Do you believe him or do you believe the scheduling?
Well, all I know is that the Knicks have 8 games. They just started an 8-game and 10-day stretch on the road, which has been a major weakness for them this year. They've won only 2 road games all season. Let's see what they can do on the road this time.
Oh, Paige got injured.
Who got injured?
Paige.
Well,
Paige suffered possible shoulder injury. Dean Ambrose is out for 9 months.
Oh, okay.
But
Paige from WWE, right?
yes,
I
she
see.
was hurt.
Didn't she make her return recently?
Yes, she did make her return recently, and she hurt her shoulder in a live event. So
Oh, brother. Just as she gets back, she gets hurt. That's the risk you run. Well, we're coming up on less than a minute to go. You have any last words, Hector?
yes, and that is hopefully sports next year will have a great year.
We hope so, too. Hector, thank you so much for joining us on the phone.
Oh, wait, I hear the doorbell. The girls are coming.
Yeah, right. Whatever, man.
All right, ladies.
There are no girls. Get over yourself. Anyway.
Happy New Year. Woo-hoo.
Anyway, we certainly hope that you have an awesome 2018. For everyone here, I'm Jamie.
I'm Hector.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you in 2018.
Night. Come on, girls.